Welcome to this week's episode of the Beth Couture Show. I'm your host, Becca Bornhorst. The big story this week was Butler's 59-56 victory over the Indiana Hoosiers. Earlier this week, the Bulldogs also had a tough loss at Bowling Green. After the break, we'll talk about both games as well as finals week coming up. You're watching the Beth Couture Show on butlersports.com. Welcome back to the Beth Couture Show. Thanks so much for joining me, Coach.
Thank you, Becca.
Yeah, so a great win yesterday over the Indiana Hoosiers. Just talk about the story of the game.
I mean, it was just a lot of excitement. You know, it was great to have all the support that we had from different groups, but I thought our players really came out ready to go. They were definitely in tune with our plan on both offense and defense, and you know, I think we just fed off a couple of buckets early and then the excitement, but I thought the key to the first half was our defense. I thought we really geared down and played really good defense and made it tough for them to score.
And speaking of defense, Coach, Indiana's best player, Alani Sinclair, was held to 4 points and 6 turnovers. So talk about how key that was to the victory.
Well, it was key because, you know, she's a scary player. She's really good. She should probably be a, you know, Big 10 All-League player, but you have to give Mandy McDivitt a lot of credit. And she's done it all year, but it was obvious in that game because it was a home game and how she just made Alani turn the ball over and just struggle. And you know, it was just neat to watch Mandy play that kind of defense and get excited about it. So I really think that was a key to the game.
And also your two starting post players, Darius McClung and Amanda Raker, combined for 27 points in the first half. So how important was their post presence?
Well, for scoring, it was big because, you know, we struggled a little bit at times with scoring. And, you know, I looked over there one time, I think we had 37 points and they had 27 of them. And I thought it was huge. You know, Darius is a scorer, and Darius did a lot of great things. They gave her the 3 early, and she hit that, and then she had some post shots, so I thought she was good. But I thought Amanda Raker had her best half of in a Butler uniform. You know, she was good. She tipped one in. She hit the offensive board. She cut, and we got a couple of post-to-post scores. So, you know, I thought the posts were huge, and it was neat to watch them, especially because they were oversized. You know, they were being played by kids that were 2 to 4 inches higher than them, and I thought we scored. So very, very impressed with those two kids.
So what does beating teams like Valparaiso, Ball State, and Indiana do for your recruiting in the state of Indiana?
Well, it does a lot, you know, because you meet those teams in recruiting, and we've been meeting Indiana a lot, and you know, we had recruits there. So just to see that kind of atmosphere and how hard our players played, I think that helps always, you know, and so for us, we thought yesterday was just a great atmosphere for all the recruits we had there, and hopefully they'll see themselves playing in that atmosphere.
Now, you had a lot of recruits there. You also had a lot of alumni there, so talk about how important it was to have support from past players.
It was really neat. I had an opportunity to talk to some of them before the game and talk about our team, and as you know, Becca, I've said here a lot how much I enjoyed this team, and then to see some of my alumni there, the younger alumni, cheering and excited. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, they take pride in this program. A lot of them are the reason why we are where we are right now as far as a program and respected like we are. So I think that they felt part of that win yesterday, and I think that's very important.
Definitely. Well, let's look at some highlights from yesterday's game against Indiana. The first highlight is a pass inside to Hannah Douglas from Darius McClung.
Yeah, I mean, we really shared the ball early, and I think that this was a play where we could have shot it earlier, but we kept moving it, and we get a layup. And Hannah definitely will finish if we can get her the ball in there.
And you talked already about Amanda Raker being on the board, so this next clip is her going to the offensive glass.
Yeah, Amanda has worked hard on the boards, both ends, so we're really pleased that she got some you know, got offensive points from it and some benefits from it. But right here, she just goes straight to the boards, and it's a great, tips it to herself and kind of tips it in. So it was a really nice play by her.
And you also talked about Mandy McDivitt's defense. So this next clip shows her getting a steal, which leads into a layup.
And really, this is a 4-point swing because if she doesn't get this steal, they're going to have a layup because they're going in, and she just comes around and steals the ball. So we have to look at that as a 4-point swing, and then hits Darius, and Darius finishes.
Well, it looks like some great basketball there yesterday, and we'll be right back after the break. You're watching the Beth Couture Show on butlersports.com. Welcome back to the Beth Couture Show. So jumping back to this past Wednesday, tough loss at Bowling Green. Talk a little bit about what happened at that game.
Well, felt really good about us early. You know, the first half was good. A little bit at the end of the half, I thought we lost our focus. And then the second half, we just we couldn't mesh as a team. 5 people weren't doing the same things. 5 people weren't doing all the same things all the time. So, but I think what happened, Becca, for me, I think we really learned a lot from that loss, because we had film after that, and we could see where a lot of it was our fault and us not understanding what the game plan was. So, and I thought that at the time, but it really showed going into Indiana that we learned from our mistakes. And I think that's what you have to do this early in the season, definitely with a young team.
Now, your team doesn't play till this Sunday, and final exams at Butler are this week, so how do you manage this as a coach?
I think you have to just give them time. We're giving them 2 days off just right now to get their studies together and just work on that. And then our first couple of practices, we'll just get up and down the floor. They're not going to be able to think. You know, they're worried about exams. And then I think it helps us get a little healthy. But right now, their focus has to be academics, and I think they know that. And from the coaching staff, that's all we'll keep talking about.
And then after this week, Coach, your team will have about a month off, and they'll be able to just focus on basketball coming into conference play starting in a couple of weeks. So how is that for your team?
Well, just excited, because right now, Becca, at this point of the year, we usually will have all our stuff in, whether it's offense or defense, and we're still way behind that because we haven't pushed it on 2 new point guards and young kids. So I think it's going to give us time to just get some polish, you know, get better at what we're doing now, and then add a few things. And it's neat. It's neat to be here. I think it helps with team bonding. You know, you're together more, and you don't have class. So I feel like our team will just get better during that month.
Well, thanks so much again, Coach, for joining me. And that wraps up the fall semester for Butler women's basketball. Make sure to check back shortly after the holidays. You've been watching the Beth Couture Show on ButlerSports.com.